muted on the benchmark indices, but it's the primary market where all the action is once again. The IndiaBulls Power IPO has been oversubscribed 13.5 times so far, and it's still a couple of hours to go before the issue closes up. Very mixed views on the street. A couple of brokerages saying that you can at best expect listing gains, some of the others calling it a rather longer term play. Let's get in one more view. Arun Kejriwal now joins in with his analysis of what's been on offer from the IndiaBulls stable. Arun, thank you so much for being with us for this quick chat. What's your reading? Because we've seen the bids come in across the price band, 40 to 45, and a very good response once again from the institutional side.
Well, very clearly, there is no doubt about it that any power company is a long-term story. It takes typically anywhere around 3 years to set up a power project. We've had two major issues prior to this one, NHPC, which is primarily into hydro, and Adani Power. I think comparing this with Adani Power makes best sense. Adani Power is a 9,900 megawatt project overall, and this is a 6,615 megawatt project. The issue of Adani Power, the market cap of the company is about 22,000 odd crores, while this would be about 9,000 crores, assuming that the price band is at the upper end, which is at 45 rupees. Now, if you talk in terms of book value, Adani Power is at about 4.42 times, while this is substantially under 2, about 1.65. There is always in such projects which take typically 36 months or so to execute, there is some amount of execution risk. And I believe this is why you have this kind of a discount being available. If you look at the track record of the IndiaBulls promoters, investors have made money in whatever issues they have come with. And I believe looking at all things in perspective, the fact that you have water, land and coal linkages, or in one case a coal mine which has been allocated to this company, investors should expect to make money not only in the short term and medium term, but also in the long term.
Well, Arun, I also wanted to lay some emphasis on the concerns that it could really have, because the company requires roughly around 31,000 crores for the project. So any kind of delay in this funding, do you think would impact the company's projections or even its plans going forward?
Well, their debt equity ratio is 3:1. That is 75% of the project cost would come in by way of debt, and 25% would come in by way of equity. They have cash of about 2,200 crores on the books. As far as the first three projects are concerned, as far as the first two projects are concerned, the entire debt funding has been tied up, which means that they would be on stream as expected. For the third, they are in an advanced stage where one of the bankers has sort of in principle agreed to give them. This gives them typically about 4,000 odd megawatt, which is all tied up. I think with the election code of conduct which is on currently in Maharashtra, getting over after the 25th or 26th, whatever balance is required would also happen. I don't think this should be a major concern for this company.
Arun, if you go by the past experiences, both NHPC and Adani, those experiences haven't been all that great. And if you take a look at the way bids are coming in, the picture is very similar on IndiaBulls Power, because there's a huge oversubscription on the QIB side. Retail investors largely staying away. Do you have a concern about what kind of sort of a listing this issue will have? The larger context concern was around pricing for the past two power issues that we are speaking of.
Absolutely. I think you're spot on in your assessment of this. Let's understand what happened. When Adani Power came, it was the first mega issue in the IPO season 2, if I could say, after 2008, when we had a lull in the capital markets for almost 15 to 18 months. There was a lot of hype which was created in Adani Power, and retail investors, QIBs, HNIs, you name it, they all sort of flocked to subscribe to this issue. On listing day, they hardly made any money, which sort of disappointed them. NHPC got a bigger response, and the HNI portion was subscribed close to 57 times, if I'm not mistaken. Now, the cost of finance for that particular issue was in the region of 6.5 to 7 rupees. And where did the share list? Around 39. So they burned their fingers. Looking at these two experiences, in this particular issue, the HNI and the retail portion at this point of time, with about 4 hours to go, are playing safe and not investing in large numbers. Probably the fact that they have not come in as large a number as one would expect in an IPO, and the fact that the pricing looks far more attractive compared to the other two issues. NHPC was priced quite steeply. Adani Power, like I said, 4.42 times the book value. There is money on the table in this issue.
Arun, if you look at IndiaBulls Power IPO on the whole, it's been subscribed roughly around 13.5 to 14 times already. Most of those bids coming in at the upper end of the band at close to 45 rupees. So what's your assessment really? If you look at the valuations, how would you be putting it at that particular price?
Well, at 45, if you talk of book post the issue, I think we are talking of 1.65 times the book value compared to 4.42 listed players. I think the best example that you can have of any power company is the largest power player in India, NTPC, that trades roughly at about 3 times. It has an EPS of about 10 rupees for March 09 and about 10.65 based on first quarter annualized. Now, I think NHPC, being the largest company in excess of 30,000 megawatts, can be a fair benchmark. So if that trades at 3 times book and you're talking of a new entrant, which would be 1/5 the size, with projects commissioning in 2011 mid to 2013 end, that's the time frame that these projects would be executed, and it is available at roughly half the book value. I think it gives you a fair amount of comfort on the discount which should be given for lack of experience, for the execution risk, and any other project risk which you could think of.
Okay, Arun, finally, I heard you say that there is plenty of money on the table for investors. How much money would you say at the upper end of the price band? Just rough guesstimates. The markets being as sort of euphoric as they have been, if you continue with this kind of sentiment, what would you expect on listing day?
Well, let's look at it in a slightly different perspective. In 12 months from Murat 2008 to 2009, we are up 9,000 points, or you could say we have doubled. Assuming that the euphoria continues for some more time when this company lists, against 45, anything in excess of 50 would be ample money left on the table. And mind you, the retail investor has not come in this issue in large numbers, which means his allotment could be substantially higher than the experience of NHPC or Adani Power.
Well, Arun, thanks a lot for actually removing time and giving us this perspective on the IndiaBulls Power IPO that is closing today. Meanwhile, if you look at